So I want to start maybe for our listeners. Can you tell listeners, what kind of workers does your union represent? And also, what has the experience been like since COVID-19 for your workers?
Okay. So we represent a wide range of workers, all the way from water department employees to sanitation workers to custodial workers at the airport, um, coroner's office, a wide range of workers, all all um, all of the blue collar workers and for the city.
Hmm. And what's it been like, I mean, since COVID-19 for these workers?
It's been rough. It's been real rough. I mean, we don't have the luxury to work from home.
Right.
We have, no one truly understood exactly the extent of how to protect yourself while working through a pandemic. So you can't, you can't social distance inside of a trash truck that's only 5 feet wide. Many of these guys recycled COVID over and over because there were no way to social distance. Um, we have city workers. A lot of people think that the water department is just individuals that turn water on and turn water off. We have guys that have to go 40 feet down into a sewer inside that's filled with human waste and aerosolized fecal matter, which COVID is carried through, and with very little protection, but a facial mask. And there's one way in and there's one way out. And so these guys were very afraid because there was no studies done. There was no time to see if people were going to contract COVID through aerosolized fecal matter. At our coroner's office, dead persons don't talk, so they don't come in saying whether or not they have the COVID virus or not. It's been very rough. Our healthcare workers, our airport workers, I mean, you name it. There's no other employer that has dealt with COVID-19 in a manner in which we have. I myself contracted COVID-19 and stayed in the hospital for 14 days. 90% of my lungs were filled with ammonia. So it's been rough. It's been really rough.
And what you said, it kind of reminded me of something I wasn't planning to ask, but even before COVID, like take sanitation workers, I think they've always been ranked one of the most dangerous jobs you could have, even, I mean, more so than a police officer. I mean, besides COVID, could you talk about like a job like sanitation? What are the daily dangers that they face on the job?
The sanitation worker is one of the most undervalued jobs. A lot of people think that it's easy to walk 7 to 11 miles a day. You don't get a choice to decide whether you can pick up this trash or not. And what happens is these guys, they don't have the time to stop, examine the bag, and see whether or not they're going to grab it. So often, especially with the rise of opioid addiction in this city, they grabbing bags and flinging them bags and being pricked and poked by needles, and then they have to go through baseline testing and wait to make sure that they haven't contracted another virus that will surely end your life. Then with the rise of the housing market in Philadelphia, they have one of the most, these contractors, there should be something filed in the city to stop contractors from using the empty buckets as waste dispensers. So when these trash guys go and they grab this trash and they put it into the hopper and they compact it, these buckets explode. They now have a name for them. They call them South Philly bombs. We have thousands of pictures where they explode and you have human feces all over the hopper. Well, when it explodes and they get aerosolized, you know what I mean? You're now again at risk. So the sanitation worker, I would ask anyone, if you think that's a easy job, try it. Try walking in 90-degree heat behind some of the most vile smell you could think of, and continue to service the citizens of Philadelphia with a smile on your face. Very difficult.
Right. And just imagine, I mean, 2 weeks without sanitation workers, let alone a month, 2 months, what would happen to the city? So
Absolutely.
yeah. So you all have a contract expiring. So I think starting negotiations or have been in negotiations. Can you kind of just talk about how are they going? What are some of the main demands that you are looking for out of this contract?
Well, our contract ends the end of this month. We haven't sat down with the city yet. Um, my position is clear with the city. I will not accept anything other than equality, equitable treatment for these men and women. I believe that's the reason why they put me in this position. And they didn't put me in this position to spin the wheel on a merry-go-round and let it stop where it stopped and take that as this it. I mean, these men and women have worked through a pandemic willingly.
Right.
When they could have took the short route, like so many people, and said, you know what, go ahead and lay me on. I'll go take that check over there. It's safer. I don't have to worry about the pandemic. I could be in the comforts of my home, and I could add to that trash that these men got to go pick up. But they came to work, and with the fears of taking this deadly disease onto their family, they continued to march on. So I've told the city we have to straighten out some. District Council 33. We have been treated, and I believe we have been treated worse than human over the last 20 years. So we're asking for equitable treatment, an increase in health and welfare. We should be treated as the city's most valuable asset,
Right.
but we're not. So I'm waiting for them to get back to me. Time is ticking, and it's a new rider on this horse.
Right. That's
I hope
right.
you understand that.
Well, they will soon. If they don't know now, they'll know soon. Go ahead.
I was just going to tell you, Paul, I have nothing to lose.
Right.
And I'm doing all this for them young guys like me that men and women decide, this is the line of work I want to be in. No one is forced to throw trash. It's a commitment that one makes to say, I'm a proud sanitation worker. It's a heritage behind being a sanitation worker, especially for Black people in this country. When they make a commitment, they also make a commitment to that I want to be able to raise my family. Right. I want to be able to send my sons to school. I'll do this today so my sons don't have to do this tomorrow, that they could go on to get higher education and be doctors and lawyers and things of that nature. So it's a commitment that these men and women make to do these jobs, for very little pay.
Right.
And I think the city should honor that and respect that and treat their most valued asset as something special and not something that you scraped off the bottom of your shoe.
Right. And we bring it up a lot on this show, but I think a lot of people don't quite realize jobs like this, so good, stable union jobs. I mean, not just for Black workers, but I think especially for Black workers, I mean, it's like a critical lifeline. Like how many families have been able to send someone to college because of a job like this, even if they didn't go to college? So people, I think, really need to realize that, if you talk about Black Lives Matter, I mean, one of the most important aspects of that are unions like your union. So, last Saturday, the union had a really great big rally. I think we have some pictures of it that we can show. Really great rally. And so almost exactly a year before this rally that we're showing on the screen, I think when I first actually met you, exactly a year ago, there was another rally around sanitation workers, hazard pay, and PPE. So what do you think changed in this last year to make this rally so much more bigger? Because the one from a year ago wasn't nearly as big as this. So what changed in the last year, do you think, to make the membership, more unified and, participate more, make this rally bigger?
Well, I always say I'm an in the face type of guy. And I went out there and I look people in the face and I say, listen, the days of union leaders just accepting high paychecks and fancy cars and wanting to wear a fancy suit, they are over. They over. I want for you what I want for myself. But we a team. We a team. I'll be your voice, but I need you to be the body. I need you to be there with me, And I know that if you give people a belief in the union, then they'll fight for you. Wars for years have been fought over beliefs. And now I tell them, if you believe in this union, I'm ready to go to war to fight for your beliefs, you know? So that's why, you know, the people come out. We had an estimated 1,500, but we hope to have an estimated, if necessary, 10,000. So I hope we don't have to have that rally. I hope that they understand I'm not an old rodeo rider. I hope they understand. But if they want to go to war, then it is what it is.
Well, you have my number. I'll be there if they make that choice. So what about for yourself? How long have you been in DC 33? And how do you think the treatment of city workers has changed over time? Do you think it's gotten worse, better, the same?
You know, I've been with District Council 33 for 24 years. And it was one of the best things I ever did with my life. You know, I got out the military, didn't know which way I was going. Tried a couple odd jobs here and there, and the city came through, and it allowed me to grow up, raised 3 wonderful sons. All have went on to graduate college, and my last one. And you know what saddens me is the pay hasn't increased. It's you know, the average salary for a city worker is around $1,000 every 2 weeks. And in this city, you cannot work for District Council 33 as a man and buy a home. The average homes in West Philadelphia, $250,000. Kensington is now $250,000 and up. I mean, I don't know where they expect us to live if this market continues to increase in the rate that it has. Right. You know, we need fair wages. So, you know, I'm not angry at the city. I think that some elected officials have to make the hard decision and stop wasting money or giving tax breaks to people that, you know, whether they pay $100 or $1,000, it ain't going to affect their bottom line.
Right.
Give it to the people that need it. Give it to the people that make 35, 40,000, 50,000, that need help. You know, some of our people are homeless. We had to open up an EAP in this building because we have members that work every day and can't afford to rent in this city. Wow. That don't make sense. You know?
So for the last question, I mean, you kind of just touched on this, but, you know, public workers, whether it's city workers, you know, I'm a public school teacher. We're always told there's no money for raises, for benefits, for more staff or anything. So first of all, do you think that's true, that there's no money? And second of all, you know, what should cities like Philadelphia do in the future, you know, revenue wise, to make sure that they can pay their public workforce and for the, you know, the services that you all provide in a sustainable way?
I'm going to be honest with you, Paul. And I've said this a million times. I don't care where they get the money from. When the Philadelphia Eagles wanted to leave Philadelphia, they found a way to help them keep that money and build that stadium in South Philadelphia. Tasty Cake, one of those big employers, wanted to leave the city of Philadelphia. They found a way to help them and restructure their incentives and move them down South Philadelphia. Let me tell you something. They can find a way to do what they want to do. They'll find a way. If they want to do something that's going to move them up that political ladder, they'll find the money. Let me tell you something. These men and women find a way to get up every day and come to work. The school teachers, it's a disgrace that they have 3 librarians and the Philadelphia school district, the whole district, 3 librarians. You see what's going on in this city. You can't expect, if a child is going to school and they're not getting a proper education and they're not being reared right, the street's going to teach them. And if the streets become their father, you see we have kids that are committing murder at 14 and 15 years old. We have people that will go up to the prison to commit murder.
Mm-hmm.
They have to start educating in our youth first. Get them when they're young. Because once they get 16, 17, 18, they're not listening to them. They ain't listening to me. Their parents is probably at work trying to keep a roof over their head. So who else going to teach them?
Right. You know, I always say to people, I mean, because what you just point out is kind of the crisis we're facing. And I always point out, you know, take the average youth in Philadelphia. So they're not funding the schools right. You know, it's less and less likely they'll be able to go to college or afford college. They're also cutting the trade school programs in the school. So now they can't, you know, even get like a good union job, or now they're going to start cutting sanitation jobs. So like, you really are trapping people. And like, what do you expect to come when you just keep cutting and cutting and cutting every option? What do you expect is going to happen next? I think that's just what you spoke to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the city would be better served if they stop fighting the unions and align themselves with the unions and see that, you know, our goal is to make sure everyone is treated equal. You know, we don't want to bankrupt the city. We just want to make sure that their workforce is staffed properly, that teachers are equipped with the tools that they need, that sanitation workers can work Monday through Friday and on the weekends take their kids to play baseball. So if you got time to spend with your kids, my mother used to always say, idle mind is a devil's workshop. She said, you know, kid ain't got nothing on his mind. He gonna start doing some foolishness. And believe me, I know about doing dumb shit. I've done a lot of it. You know what I mean? But you know, when you see better, you do better. You know, there should be more teachers in school that we should bring back home economics and shop class and some more activities after school. You got after school activities. They're not out there playing in the streets. They're about people that love them and want to get things right. So I think if the city want to get it right, these organizations that are doing this to be a school teacher and what they pay, you got to love what you're doing.
Right.
Because it's not like you're uneducated. You could have took your education and went another route and said, you know what, I don't want to deal with kids. That's a passion in what you guys do. You know, just like it's a passion to be a sanitation worker. You know, just because you throw trash don't mean you should be treated like trash. You know? It's a passion to say, I'm going to put on these coveralls and go 60 feet down in the sewer to unclog a sewer that's filled with everything, rats and everything, and it ain't nothing. You got to just sit there and let them rats run by your head. It takes a strong individual to do something like that. So I think if the city ever want to, you know, change what's going on across this country, they need to stop fighting the unions and get in line with the unions.
Well said. And, you know, I saw Richard Hooker, brother from Teamsters Local 623 in the comments, you know, and I'm going to reference what he's always saying about, you know, they called us all essential for a year. So now all these contracts are coming due. Now it's time to really show, if you think we're essential, you got to pay us like we're essential. You got to treat us like we're essential. So I really hope, you know, part of your fight is helping people realize, you know, if you didn't before appreciate sanitation workers or Amazon, you know, delivery drivers, hopefully the COVID has made people wake up to say, you know, these people really are essential. So thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for your fight. You know, I'll be with you. Just hit me up when the next rally. And so thanks for coming on, President Garrett.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys. And I'm going to make sure I'm a new fan of the Jacobin Show. You know what I mean?
Like and subscribe, you know.
You heard it from Ernest Garrett.
And we love to have you back on, you know, in the future. I mean, as things develop, you know, we want to feature, you know, union leaders and union members.
Absolutely. Well, you're a friend of mine. I like your style. You know what I mean? And it's nice meeting Miss Jen Pan. And we're here. Our doors are open for you. Anything we can do for you in your cause for justice and equality for working people, let us know.
Thank you, President Garrett.
All right, brother. Thanks.
Bye.